Hey, I'm Brian Miller, and thanks so much for tuning into this week's episode of Thursday Thoughts, all about going against the grain. I remember the unmistakable giggle of a small child entertaining themselves floating into my ears. It pierced past the noise-canceling headphones and the airport cacophony. Remember airports? So I turned my head to, search for that life-affirming, unencumbered source of laughter and discovered a girl, like a 6-year-old girl, walking the wrong way on a moving sidewalk. Her eyes glistened pure curiosity as she discovered for the very first time that if you walk at precisely the right speed against the moving sidewalk, you don't go anywhere. And then she had an idea. It was like a cartoon light bulb popped up above her head, and she realized, what if I walk faster than the moving sidewalk? Moving her legs as fast as they would go, she slowly but surely made progress in the opposite direction, away from her gate and her clearly exhausted mother, who was chasing after her. We hear a lot about the path of least resistance, but not a whole lot about the path of most resistance. So if you know where you're going, and you're sure, by all means, take the moving sidewalk. Go with the flow, swim with the current, choose your favorite metaphor. I mean, if you have a clear destination in mind, you may as well pick the fastest and most efficient route. But you don't have a clear destination in mind nearly as often as you think. At best, you've got a vague idea, but nothing like a map or a blueprint. In those cases, when the destination is loose and the journey unclear, the easy path offers no benefit over the hard path. If you don't really know where you're going, getting there quickly is of no use at all. Walking against the moving sidewalk, swimming upstream, following the path of most, or at the very least, more resistance, instead builds resilience. It slows us down just enough to notice new opportunities. As Norton Juster wrote in The Phantom Tollbooth, one of the greatest books ever written for any age, there are no wrong roads to anywhere. So next time you're struggling to find the right path, try the obviously wrong one instead. It may not be as wrong as you think. Well, that's it for this week's episode of Thursday Thoughts. Before I let you go, I do want to let you know about something very, very exciting, which is I am opening up a public version of my leadership mastermind for the first time ever. See, I run private masterminds and I do private coaching and I run private workshops for organizations, educators, healthcare facilities all over the world. You guys, you know this, but I've never actually opened up one of my programs to the public. And in May of this year, in just about 6 weeks, I'm opening up a limited amount of slots for my public leadership mastermind. The details are all getting worked out right now. It'll be 3 or 4 months, either 3 months twice a month or 4 months once a month as a group coaching session, as a group mastermind, where the goal is to, not for me to teach you, but for you to leverage the power of your peers, to be in a room where I just get to facilitate the conversation among you and everybody else. Because as we know, all of us are stronger than any of us. So you don't have to be an executive, in a corporation or an upper manager to be a part of this like you normally would be in my private workshops. You can be a small business owner or an entrepreneur or a freelancer. You can be a nonprofit founder, a community leader. It really doesn't matter. The goal of this mastermind is going to be for you to level up your leadership skills in a time of great change, great crisis, because we know for sure that true leaders rise in times of crisis. The rules that you've known all your life were wiped out overnight. Somewhere in the last 2 to 3 weeks, everything you know is gone. And somebody is going to write the rules of the new future. Somebody in your organization, somebody in your community is going to write the rules of the new future. When have you ever had a chance to choose yourself and say, I'm going to lead the cause? So If you want a chance at jumping into this leadership mastermind, you're going to need to get on the waiting list. I already have more people on the waiting list than I even have slots available. So I fully expect this thing to just fill up the second I open up the doors in May. But if you want to be among the first notified, head to the link in the description or the link in the comments below. You can put your name and email down for the public mastermind waiting list, and you will be the first to get notified. You will have the first option of jumping in before anybody else does. More details to follow. In fact, I'm going to be asking those who have already put their names on the waiting list if they would prefer a twice a month program for 3 months or a once a month for 4 months. It will be a group program, but also combined with, you'll get probably a 30-minute one-on-one call with me every month to work through your own specific obstacles and concerns as well. So if that's of any interest to you, link in the description. I think it's brianmillerspeaks.com/join. Should get you to where you need to be. That said, thanks so much for tuning in. I appreciate your support and your community for all of these years. Remember, every interaction is meaningful. Every person we meet is important. We'll see you soon.
Brian, thank you so much for such an amazing experience. You're an incredible, incredible coach, and I'm so fortunate to have worked with you.
Until I met Brian, it's safe to say I never had a good video conference. I thought maybe I did, but it felt like something was missing. The technology was there, but the connection wasn't. Brian has a way about him that he can facilitate a meeting that makes everyone feel special and important. At the same time, he asks these amazing questions that get you thinking in a way that you just never would on your own, and yet utilize the strengths of everyone in the group.
And let me just tell you, when I reached out to Brian the first time, I could tell that this guy is so genuine, knows his stuff. I mean, hello, TEDx with over 3 million views. My experience working with Brian was absolutely incredible. He is so knowledgeable about weaving together the different elements of a story, helping you somehow narrow in to exactly what you're trying to say while trimming the fat of everything that doesn't matter. Get on a call with this man and work with him, because it is the best investment you could possibly make at one of the most important milestones in your career.
I can't thank Brian Miller enough for his coaching support throughout my TEDx journey. He made me feel comfortable from day one. He lifted up my confidence that was kind of ebbing and flowing throughout this crazy journey of giving a TEDx talk. And his sessions were so focused and so productive that it didn't even take that much time with him to get me to the place that I needed to be, because he is such a professional. His performance skills, he offered so many amazing insights I would have never thought about. And just his ability to look at a script and be able to see the opportunity to say things in a more meaningful and more brief way was just invaluable. So I highly recommend Brian.
I've worked with Brian over the last several months. In fact, almost a year now we've been working together, and he's been absolutely fantastic, giving me a lot of support and guidance on developing my TEDx talk, and he's just a super guy and couldn't recommend him more highly.